WCRA3. This is breaking news.
Thank you for joining us at noon. We begin with breaking news. All of South Lake Tahoe has been evacuated due to the Caldor fire. And this is a look at the evacuation map. Here are the latest evacuations east of Pioneer Trail between Larch and El Tahoe to include the area of Heavenly Ski Resort out to Alpine County line and to the Nevada State line on the east. East of Ski Run on the lake side of Pioneer Trail and also both sides of Pioneer Trail between Larch and the Nevada State line. Let's go now to Melanie Hunter, who's tracking fire conditions right now.
Yeah, so the main concern is still going to be the wind. We have the southwest flow that is in place, and with that southwest flow, there's a concern that it's going to continue to push this fire to the north and to the east. Right now, we take a live look, and this is over the Tahoe Basin, and just this awful scene that we've come to know over the past couple of weeks where the Tahoe Basin is just socked in with smoke. You can see the tree line here, but that's pretty much all you can make out from this area. Again, we've gotten kind of used to seeing that, unfortunately, over the past couple of weeks. Let's talk more about the wind. I want to show you the current wind situation through the Sierra. So the southwest wind is in place through the Sierra, including through South Lake Tahoe. Our concern has been the gust, and now we're starting to see more of those gusts register.
Let's go now to Brian Hickey, who's tracking evacuations in South Lake Tahoe right now.
Yeah, and we're already starting to see some traffic backing up in that area. This is State Line right here. This is the edge of the evacuation order, and you can see here Lake Tahoe Boulevard all the way back to the Y now. And Pioneer Trail, the backup continues to get longer and longer on Pioneer Trail as people have been asked to take the eastbound side of Lake Tahoe Boulevard. I believe we have a live picture at Ski Run Boulevard from the Caltrans camera, and here you can see the traffic. This is all eastbound traffic heading off in that direction where they've asked people to evacuate from South Lake Tahoe in an eastbound fashion on Highway 50.
But let's go to Live Copter 3 right now, trying to track conditions for us right now. You can see all of this smoke in South Lake Tahoe. And this is near Highway 88 right there. A Caldor fire is forcing those evacuations for all of South Lake Tahoe, just putting out so much smoke. You could just see how much that fire has grown and continuing to be a massive concern. Last night, South Lake Tahoe area was under a warning, and this morning came that mandatory evacuation order for everyone in South Lake Tahoe to get out and get to safety.
This is just under 6 miles to State Line, Nevada, and this backup is, it hasn't moved since we've been here. I looked on my map and it said it would take me 2 hours and 3 minutes to get to State Line from here. These are all people trying to desperately get out of town, and I can tell you this has all moved so quickly. I live here in Tahoe. I got the evacuation warning notice at 8 o'clock last night. This morning at 9 a.m. I got the order to get out, and it is just increased and kind of spread throughout the city. Now all of the city of South Lake Tahoe is under an evacuation order. This is something that we have been talking about for the last 2 weeks, and the overall sentiment has been this fire so far away, there's no way it can make it down here to the basin. I also learned that never in history has a fire come from outside of the basin into the basin here in Tahoe, and it looks like that is about to change. It's something that really we didn't think was possible. Of course, we're hearing a lot about the wind that's going to likely drive this fire. I'm starting to feel the winds pick up. Directly in front of me, behind my photographer Mike here, is Angora. It's 3 miles away, Angora Lakes, and that area suffered a really devastating fire in 2007. 242 homes were lost at that time. 35 more were damaged, and that is something that many people here in South Lake Tahoe remember and lived through, and that was very devastating for the community. So I think over the last few weeks, as we've been watching this fire inch closer, people have been talking about that and just how scary that time was. And for a lot of people, this is just kind of a nightmare all over again. I can tell you it is very strange to be on the other side of a story and to be packing up your home rather, to evacuate. I have covered that so many times, and you always feel bad for the people who are in that situation. And I can tell you it's just really scary. And looking back at a house and not knowing if it's going to be there when you come back home is not a fun thing. And that's what all of these people are dealing with.
Look at the massive plumes of smoke. Fire officials just say this is incredible fire activity that they haven't seen before, saying the fire was burning from one side of the Sierra to the other. They didn't expect that this would happen so quickly like they did in the case of the Dixie fire. Right now, South Lake Tahoe under a mandatory evacuation. A lot of people kind of just stuck sitting in traffic. Let's bring in Mark with more on the conditions that firefighters are facing today.
Well, looking at these pictures from live copter from just a little bit ago, what we're looking at here is we are flying over the Highway 88 area and looking toward the north, where we were talking about how the Leak Springs area had almost a burn over yesterday, and they did structure protection there. But we talked about how the fire will find the fuel. Sure, there are a lot of patches of granite here and there in this part of the Sierra, but the fire is finding the fuel. There's the area around the Strawberry Creek where it's lush with forest, and that's what the fire is finding here. And as you can see, and this is what we're talking about when we talk about getting the spotting. You see how these trees, they're torching. So in other words, the entire tree is on fire, and then you can see the flames leaping from the top of that tree by another 40, 50 feet. And that's what can send those hot embers. A piece of the tree that may be a half an inch or an inch in diameter is suddenly aloft in that cloud. And then where it lands, it can start a new fire.
From KCRA 3, this is breaking news.
That breaking news here at KCRA, all of South Lake Tahoe being evacuated because of the Caldor fire. That's 22,000 people who have now been ordered to leave today. This is in addition to more than 20,000 that were already out of their homes because of the fire.
We're looking at some live pictures now from Live Copter 3 that has just finished refueling, so they can give us more aerial coverage of this important day today as folks are getting out of South Lake Tahoe. Just to orient you a little bit of where we're looking here, we're looking up toward the south and eastern edge of where the fire is burning, basically Highway 88. On the other side of all of this smoke is South Lake Tahoe. We won't be able to get that shot for you just because it is too smoky, but we can show you the active part of this fire where the fire is continuing to burn eastward as we look and see how the smoke is actually drifting off, being driven by the winds. And as we zoom in, you can also just get another idea of how much this fire is burning in this one particular area. This is, if you're also wanting a little bit more information as to exactly where this is, north of Kirkwood, just to give you an idea. So we have the shots here as Live Copter 3 continues to get closer. You can see that darker plume of smoke within the whiter plume, suggesting some heavy fuel going up in that particular area right now. And as we zoom in, yeah, you can just see those little puffs of grayish and almost blackish smoke as our camera person, I believe Mike Domalog, is up there for us getting these shots and just showing you exactly the dangerous leading edge of this fire right now, the Caldor fire. So that is the latest right now from Live Copter 3. We can show you right now what the evacuation map looks like, just to give you an idea of the swath of land that we are talking about right now.
Yeah, and just to remind folks, you know, this fire started about 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And it has been burning since then. It started 2 miles east of Omo Ranch, 4 miles south of the community of Grizzly Flats. You know, and again, 20,000 structures threatened, has burned already 177,000 acres. Containment over the weekend, Golson, was at 19%. Today, it was updated to 14%.
Right.
And all because of the changing conditions out there.
Brandy, as you well know, over the course of the weekend, there wasn't a lot of wind, but yesterday there was enough wind to give this fire more forward progress. And today, tomorrow, and even Wednesday, we're going to be seeing more wind, and we're just kind of waiting to see what sort of impact that is going to have on the fire. The satellites give us an indication of how the fire is burning. So as you can see, here's El Dorado County. There is the American River, the South Fork of the American River, and you can see how the smoke laid down in there and then burned off. One thing I want to point out is one thing we're not seeing. The western end of the fire, for those of you concerned about the area down toward Mount Auckham Road, towards Sly Park, Jenkinson Lake, that area, we are seeing hardly any fire activity in that area. I know a lot of you from that area have been evacuated from your homes and we're paying attention to the east side of the fire. I can assure you that even just telling from the satellite, we're not seeing a lot of fire activity down on that Camp Creek area where we did see some activity over the weekend. So the other thing you'll notice here is where the fire is very active and where it's less active. So very active on the southern end of the fire, and that's what Live Copter 3 has been showing us. There's another way that we can show you that too, and that's by showing you on radar. Yeah, we usually use radar to show you rain, but what we're looking at here are smoke plumes. So look at this area of yellow down in here. That's where the fire is hottest. So here's Highway 88, there's Kirkwood, and watch these areas of yellow. What that's picking up, because usually radar is going to show you areas of rain and areas of heavy rain, well, instead this is going the other way. These are embers being lifted aloft and then the ash cloud going downwind. So you notice where it's active down here close to Highway 88. You see some activity up here on Highway 50, but it's not nearly as bright as what you're seeing down here. This is a little bit of activity we're seeing up here by Twin Bridges. So we're seeing activity here and here, but we're not seeing it over in here at this point. So that's another indication of where the fire is burning hottest just by using radar. So let's talk about where the fire line is as of this morning. As of this morning, yeah, we've been hearing a lot of reports of it kind of hung up here in the Echo Lakes area. We heard that from the OES. We've heard that from some firefighters on the ground that right now they are staging here. And you also heard from Lizée earlier. She was staged right in here looking down at the Christmas Valley, which is Highway 89. A lot of homes down in here. So she was up here looking down at the Christmas Valley, and we are not seeing anything down here. Now, a fire tends to burn quickest going uphill. So that's why, for instance, this run going up behind Twin Bridges, that ran pretty quickly during the day yesterday. But then it ran into some granites up toward the Desolation Wilderness, so it kind of runs out of space to go. The winds are also kind of funneling up the canyon along Highway 50. So again, fire moving quickly uphill. Once it gets here, however, it is downhill. If it's not for the wind, we're going to generally see the fire move very slowly in a downhill direction. The problem is we are going to have a lot of wind. We're also seeing a lot of progress on the fire. This is where the fire was back on Saturday night. So all of this is the new part of the fire, and with the wind that we are expecting over the next couple of days, we'll probably see that spot fire go down toward Highway 89. This is the area of the fire that Live Copter 3 has been showing us, the southern edge of the fire. There's Silver Lake, there's Kirkwood, so this area is very active. This area is very active. Right in between here, there was a fire back 2 years ago. It's called the Caples Fire. It burned out and took a lot of fuel out in this area, so that's why you have a finger coming this way and a finger going that way, and this will also run into a fair amount of granite before it gets down toward the Silver Lake area. But a lot going on out there today, but the good news is that this, for now anyway, continues to be the strongest part of the fire. The north end, the part along Highway 50, is the weakest, but again, that's just right now. The winds are picking up. The winds are going to be gusty again during the day tomorrow and Wednesday, so there's a lot of potential for more spotting of this fire in the next couple of days. Back to you.
I can tell you, it looks like a lot of people have made their way out of town now, and it's really starting to quiet down, which is good. I have to say, I've noticed so many different officers, fire crews from all over the state here, helping with traffic control, helping with evacuations. I had a sheriff from Madera County knock on my door today to let me know that I needed to leave. So I think as soon as people can get out of the Tahoe area, all of those officers and fire personnel can really focus on the fire and on doing their jobs. So this is a good sign. We did talk to people earlier who were stuck in traffic when it was, from this point to State Line, it was a 2-hour backup. Here's what they had to say.
I've lived in Tahoe for 12 years. I was on the other side of town and I went home to get one thing, and it was stupid of me.
What all do you have in here?
I have my baby bird that's freaking out.
Oh, poor bird.
And my dog.
Can you believe this?
This is crazy. They should have planned this a little better. They should get some more traffic going out here instead of 2 lanes.
This morning, so we did get the evacuation warning last night. And then this morning as I was packing, neighbors were knocking on my door saying mandatory evacuation. Unfortunately, some were panicking. And now we're just waiting to all get out. It's kind of a mass exodus, kind of expected coming this late in the game. But what can you do?
How would you describe this scene here? How long have you been sitting in traffic?
Ooh, feels like an hour, and I maybe made it 5 inches.
And that was the scene here really just a half hour ago. This was wall to wall. Now what we're seeing, I don't know if you caught that fire engine that just went by. We've seen probably close to 10 fire engines go by just within the last 15 minutes or so. A lot of different personnel from different parts of the state. So clearly there are a lot of resources up here from a lot of different agencies, and clearly they're really needed right now. But as for the traffic and people out and about, it's really cleared up. It's really getting quiet here, which is good. Reporting live in South Lake Tahoe, Kristen Samos, KCRA 3 News.
Yeah, I think we need to point this out. I mean, I don't recall ever a time during the middle of the day that it's looked like that behind you, Kristen. That is something.
Yeah, we all had the same reaction when we went to our live shot, and we were like, wow.
There's a lot happening here. So we are, like you said, east of Echo Lake and east of Highway 50. We're already seeing some spot fires that have crossed the highway here. Crews are just now arriving to put this out. They're taking the hose out and trying to put this fire out. But we're seeing multiple fires. If we even look in the other direction where I'm facing, there's a spot fire over there in the trees. Again, that's on that same side of Highway 50 where the fire seems to have jumped the highway. And then to give you some perspective, back up along the hillside, if we can get that way, I know that tree is in the way, we were looking at a spot fire up there, and it seems to have come from that area down the hill and cross the highway. That's where we were seeing the cabin burn earlier. And I think we can show you that video that we saw earlier on the west side of Highway 50. There you see the cabin that lit up in flames there. Just within minutes, we were seeing the cabin collapse in the flames. There are a few other cabins along that ridge that seem to be okay, but as we said, from way up on that hillside, now we're getting spot fires down here on the other side of the highway. And if we can go back out live here, you'll get a look at the crews that are all lining up along the highway. This just happened within the last minute as we kind of happened upon this spot fire. So they're calling in more crews. They've got the hoses out. We're seeing more trucks even line up. But yeah, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lots of crews here to try to put these spot fires out before they become a problem. So we're definitely going to keep an eye on how things progress here, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Live in El Dorado County, Lizzie Mitri, KCRA 3 News.
We want to go live to KCRA 3's Brittany Hope, who just arrived in Carson City. Brittany, talk about what's around you and what you see where you are.
Hey, good evening, you guys. So we're right now in the parking lot here at Fuji Park for people who are in the area or in South Lake who need a place to evacuate. This is right across the street from the Costco here in Carson City. And this is really this parking lot. It was supposed to be meant for animals who needed to evacuate, but now we are seeing humans alike evacuating here as well. Some folks with tents in their back truck, other people's bringing the trailers and RVs. Alan, if we could bring the camera a little bit that way toward the park and the bleachers over there. I did just verify that those porta potties and the hand washing station was just dropped off here on behalf of the Carson City Fire Department for evacuees who are going to call this parking lot their shelter for the next few days. And you can kind of see one after one some more cars here pulling up, trailers, hitches attached to the back of cars, and some actual tents set up as well. We do know that there were 2 other shelters here in Carson City. I'm going to look down here at my phone to give you the latest. So a second location for Carson or for CalDOR Fire evacuees just opened at the Carson City Community Center. That one is opening because the Douglas County Community Center is now at capacity. And again, as we can see here, it does look like the parking lot here at Fuji Park is now open for evacuees as well. The fire department providing those porta potties for folks who are going to be staying here overnight. Back to you in the studio.
There is a live update on the Caldor fire that's expected to start in the next few minutes. We will carry that on our digital platforms, on KCRA Facebook page, on Twitter, of course on our website, kcra.com. Just take out your phone, scan this QR code. It'll take you to a link so you can watch that update. Again, take your phone out, open up your camera phone and focus it there on the code and click on the notification. It'll take you to that live update on the Caldor fire.